Hey everybody, this is Mr. C coming at you from some weird place right now. So we're going to be working on mockups today, and this video is going to walk you through how to create a mockups account and how to do a very simple layout in mockups, mostly how to navigate the program. Now mockups.com is a website that allows you to mock up websites or do to fake not really fake, but to do a layout that doesn't actually work like a website, kind of like a static design. And it comes pre-built with a lot of visual elements that you would see in websites. And so the language that you're communicating with your client with will be understood by them because these are things that they've seen on other websites. So let's get started. We're going to go ahead and go to the mockups website. It's spelled weird, MOQUPS.com. And once you're there, click this big yellow button here, try it now for free. Now you could just jump in and start using it. This is a pre-built example so they can show you all the different little elements that you can use. But what we want to do is actually create an account so we can save our work. So we're going to click this blue button up here that says sign up and pricing. So we're going to click on that. And hopefully you brought your credit cards. No, we can do this for free. On this plan page, if we scroll down, we'll see right down here our free plan. Now it only allows you to have one project, so you can create a project that has multiple pages in it. Usually what I'll do is just create a generic project that has all of my mockups in it. The only other limitation though is that you can only have 300 objects. So that is an object, that is an object, that is an object, that's an object, that little thing right there is an object. So ultimately, through all of the pages that you have in your project, you can only have a total of 300 across all of your pages. So sometimes you have to get creative. But for right now, this is totally going to work for us. So go ahead and click on the free plan. Cool. And what we're going to do is sign up. Oh, sorry. So you can sign up with Google or you can enter your email address. So I'm going to use shift3.patino@gmail.com. And my username is going to be shift3patino. My password okay, and then sign up. Cool. All right, I do want to save my password and I do want to add that. Okay, and now I can open the mockups app. Now it's usually a good idea to pop on over to your email to see if you need to verify anything. It looks like you don't need to, so that's good. All right, so here's our default landing page. You can see over here, this is sample project and first page. And if you open this, click on the M there, you can create a new project, but because you are you're limited to one project within this free plan, you are unable to actually do that. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open an existing one here. Oh, actually I haven't created my first project. Cool, let's do that. Sweet. Okay, I'm going to call it everything. Click on create project. And let's call this page home. Cool. Okay, over in the stencil library, you can scroll down and see all these visual elements that you would normally see on a website. Mockups is also good for doing things like flow charting. And so we have some of these data icons that we would use in creating a flow chart of information. But what we want to focus on mostly is the typical constructs that you would find on a website. So first of all, notice that on mine anyway, the page kind of runs off the side here and down the bottom. So I want to zoom out so I can see everything. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. There's my page. Okay, cool. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to create a title or heading on my page. So I'm going to click on the heading stencil and just kind of drag it on. And if I double click it, and then hit enter, I have now made a title. And if I grab this corner handle, I can increase the size of the box. I can also decrease the size of the box. Now, decreasing the size of the box will hide your content. So we definitely don't want to do that. Cool. We can also change the typeface. So this drop down here, we can scroll through, I believe it's all of the Google fonts. I can set the size. Let's actually go really big here. Make it bold. Cool. Put it in the upper left there. Now notice that this is a box. So kind of like in a Google drawing, everything exists in elements that you can move around the page. All right, so we're going to add some paragraph text now. So I'm going to drag a paragraph stencil out. And by default, it just fills it in with a bunch of text. And this is, don't be fooled, this is really tiny, but understand that my page is actually zoomed out. At 100%, this is what people are actually going to see on the internet. 14 is actually a pretty decent size. So we're going to leave that there. And I kind of want to put a picture over here on this side. So I'm going to scroll down to the image placeholder and drag that over there. And let's make a little form. Cool. So we'll put placeholder text instead of email address. We'll say first name. And if you hold down the Alt key and then click and drag, you can make a copy of this, or you can use copy and paste. Cool. And let's do a little submit button. Come back up here. There's a submit button. We'll drag that in there. You'll see that when I have an element selected, I get different options here. So for this button, my text color is black. And in a mock-up, generally speaking, everything is placeholder. So we try to steer away from colors, and in photos, we just do varying shades of gray if we want things to contrast. Because what we're trying to do is we're trying to get a sense of how the information flows, how the bits of information connect to each other. What is the experience of people viewing this page? Do they like it? Is it pleasing to the eye? Or does it make them want to, go and throw up somewhere? So we don't want to do that to people. So, making the color of this button, my favorite color might not be a good option right now. So we're going to go ahead and set that back. However, what we could do is, I'm not a huge fan of button with an outline. So I can, down under fill and strokes, I can remove that. and I can tell it to be white. Beep. There we go. And if I wanted to, I could make my fill actually a little darker and make my text color white. There's some contrast. So that says to someone, hey, this is going to be something to fill out. All right, now we need a call to action for this form here. So we're going to do another heading. Oh, sorry, not that. We're going to do, let's do a text area here. No. Mr. C, you probably should have figured this out before you did this. So I am going to do paragraph right here, but I'm not going to use all of that text. And I'm going to make this text actually bigger. Not that big. Okay. And I'll put an exclamation point there like, hey, you better do this. Get some stuff done. Okay, so cool. Page is looking pretty good, I think, maybe. But what's really going to make this a website, or web page I should say, is if, so what I did here is I just hit Control A on my keyboard, and then I arrowed everything down, so I moved it down on the page. And so what we really need on this page is some kind of navigation, right? So I'm going to scroll down to, oh, where is it? Oh, stay awake, everybody. All right, so if you can't find the stencil you're looking for, oh, here it is. But if you can't find the stencil you're looking for, you can type up in the search here, nav. There you go. And I want to do a horizontal menu. So I'm going to drag that out here. And, oh, dude, these lines, no, bad. So I can set the color of these to be white. Also, I just remembered that you can set the stroke to be 0, which basically does the same thing. And if you double click this, see how this movies one is highlighted? If I double click, here's the text that's behind all that. So it's apps, games, each one separated by a comma, and then the movies, the one that was highlighted, has a star here. So we're going to change this. We're going to say home, comma, about, comma, contact, comma, our, story. And let's put a star next to home here and then hit enter. And so what that'll do is that'll make home have a, excuse me, highlight on it. And you can set the density of this highlight if you want, the foreground color and the fill color. So let's say you wanted this to have a slight fill to it. And we wanted the background of our selected to be just a little bit darker. And now it doesn't really look like buttons because we got rid of the stroke. So let's do this. Let's put the stroke back in and let's change it to white. And watch what happens. So now we have a tiny little bit of separation and we can actually make that a little bit bigger. Let's go to 3 on that. Now we can see we've got actual, like what look like little buttons. It's important to remember that this is not necessarily the final design of your page. Again, we're looking for flow of content, how these things flow together. Your navigation might look totally different than this, but what we're trying to figure out is, does it look good like this, or does it look better like that, right? So these are the types of decisions that we're trying to make here. In addition to our navigation, we probably need a logo. Now we have a couple options. We can do an image placeholder like this right here that represents the logo, or we can get a little more creative and we can go to the icons and we can try and find something that is close to our client, what they are representing. Maybe it's a audio production company, so we can use this little microphone icon right here. Make that a little bigger. There we go. Okay. Now I'm going to scooch this over, and you have the option to hover over and change the right and the bottom pages. Oh, you know what? Let's put a footer on here real quick. Let's go back to stencils and get rid of the search nav. We're going to do a rectangle, and I'm going to drag this all the way across the bottom here, just like that. I'm going to give it no stroke, and I'm going to give it a fill of, let's do a dark gray. Okay, and that's going to be representative of our footer. Most websites have a footer on them, and I'm going to bring up the bottom of this page here. Okay, so let's zoom out and let's see what this looks like. Now, one of the things that is pretty common for first-time designers is to say, hey, that looks pretty good, I'm done. You're not done. You're not done because nothing lines up with anything else. We haven't really gone over contrast, repetition, alignment, and proximity yet, I don't think. CRAP, which spells crap. What? But with contrast, repetition, alignment, proximity, those are the 4 basic design rules that you should probably follow when you're first getting started. And the one that we want to look at is alignment. Alignment means that things are kind of lined up with other things. That stuff makes placement sense. So we have a lot of left edges here, and nothing connects to anything else. But what if we did something like this here? What if we took this and snapped it? See how when I get it to that left edge there, that blue line shows up? What if we snapped all of these guys to the left edge like that? Okay. And this button we can center under those form elements. Cool. And this we're going to go so it lines up with the top of that text there. And so it's kind of the same width on the right that this is on the left. These are too close to the edge. I'm going to scooch these over. There we go. And bring this down a smidge. I'm a big fan of gutters. Not actual gutters, but the space between stuff. Cool. Okay, and this goes with that. So I'm going to make it line up with the top of that button, which it kind of does right there. Cool. Now this guy, it's kind of weird like this. What if we tried something like this? What if I made this image bigger? And what if we did first name, last name, and submit, and then, whoa, underneath it, and the explanation. Maybe we can do this. Cool. What do we want our button to say? So button is probably the last thing. Cool, and I want to change this typeface here. Something that's a little more exciting, like, what was the title of our page? It was it Amaranth? What do we use here? ASAP, condensed. So ASAP, condensed, not rocky. And let's do a little bit bigger, 24. Contact us now for more information. You can also adjust the roundness of the corners. So this is called the radius. Right now they're at 4, so you can see they're just a tiny bit rounded. But if you jump this number up to, like, let's say 12, they're even more rounded. 18 is probably a good one. When this lock is on right here, they're all ganged together, so whenever you change one number, they all change, but you can disconnect that if you want, let's say, this one to be 3 and this one to be 3. So then you have kind of a weird shape button there. I'm not super happy with this layout, but it is what it is. Okay, for now. And then finally our navigation, we'll put it right in the middle of that icon. And let's put it right in the middle of the page. There. Yeah, that's kind of okay. I don't like it in the middle of the page. Right there. Okay, sweet. So as I'm going, it's saving. You can hit Command S to save also, or Control S if you want to save your work. But you are, oops, that doesn't line up. But you are now looking at a layout in mockups. And this is something that you can take a screenshot of, send to your client. The paid version allows you to just share this directly with a client. And it actually used to create HTML for you, but it does not do that anymore on the free version, which would have been nice. Anyway, this is our mockup layout. So after you finish watching this video, there's going to be a little assignment for you, something that you are going to create in mockups. Dun, dun, dun.